Cunha, Mateta, Wissa, Marmoush, loads of mid-price forwards to be looking at. Which one am I going to buy? Well, this is my team selection video for Gameweek26. I'm also going to be making an assistant manager swap and probably going against Mo Salah with my captaincy. So welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you're all good. You enjoyed the midweek action and you're looking forward to game week 26. So without further ado, shall we see my bus team? This is how I'm set up before any transfers, and in today's show we have got loads to get through as mentioned, so don't go anywhere. If you're enjoying the show so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and I'll reply to all comments in the next 24 hours as well. So look, let's have a look how I'm set up then. When we look at my team, I feel like it needs a little bit of work. Let's just start at the back though. I'm happy with Pickford. I've got Lewis Hall in place. I actually fancy Newcastle to have a chance of a clean sheet. Daniel Munoz always gives me upside. And Trent, it was nice seeing Trent subbed. He's getting subbed around 60, 70 minutes, which means if he's got on the clean sheet and then Liverpool gone to concede, as we saw in game week 25, he locks those clean sheet points. Not great for his bonus, but I'm happy Trent. As long as he's starting football matches and getting 60 minutes, I'm happy spending the money. Obviously, he scored against Villa. Palmer, you've got to keep hold of, guys, because he has two amazing fixtures coming up in Leicester and Southampton. You can't sell him ahead of those 27 and 28 fixtures, although, of course, Chelsea are bad. Dango came in last week. He's been the best Bournemouth midfielder to buy, in my opinion. And then we've got Rodgers, who was unlucky not to return in the double game week. Rodgers is an absolutely fine hold. He's Villa's best player. And then Mo Salah, of course. And then we've got a front three of Watkins, Gakpo and Isak. We'll talk about captaincy later, so we won't put the armband on anyone yet. But spoiler alert, I'm considering going against Mo Salah. The big question mark here, though, for this 11 and moving forward if I want him in my team, is Cody Gakpo. Loads of you watching will own Cody Gakpo. Whether you own him or not, this will hopefully be useful to you because we're going to run through some replacements. Because if you're not replacing Gakpo, you might be still on the hunt for a mid-price forward regardless of owning Cody Gakpo or not. Is Cody Gakpo a sell? Well, he didn't make it in the squad against Villa. And the fact that Luis Diaz didn't start against Villa, for me, raises slight concerns over Gakpo. We've been told by Slot, Gakpo's close. But is Gakpo ready to start against City and then against Newcastle 3 days later? I'm not so sure. And the fact Diaz was rested makes me think Diaz is so important in Gakpo's absence that Diaz and Jota are possibly starting against Man City. Diaz left, Jota number 9. Again, post-match interview with Slot, he said about Jota and Trent, they both couldn't play the full games. They came off around the hour mark. I think both of them start. And if Jota starts up front, Diaz on the left, maybe Gakpo misses Man City. And if he does, he's a definite sell. It's a shame because he's got Southampton in 27 or 28 and you want him for that. But I'm happy to sell Gakpo, but who do I replace him with? Well, let's get cracking with some replacements, shall we? Oh, I've got some data to show you here. This is all for the Scout members there. I've been screen grabbing away on my Scout app this morning, and I've looked at the fixtures. I want to do a comparison. I want to do two comparisons. First, I want to just show you the season-long data. Season-long data between Matheus Cunha, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Johan Wissa. Now, we are going to talk about Marmoush in 5 minutes' time, so stay tuned for the Marmoush chat. You can only compare 3 players on this chart, and Marmoush was the 4th, and I think it's a little bit too early, but I want to chat Marmoush. I have got all the fixtures for Wolves, Palace, Brentford, and Man City also on show, right? So this top line, let's go season long. No, let's go fixtures first, shall we? So top line, before we look at the individual stats, you can see here on the side, we've got the Wolves fixtures. I've filtered by difficulty. Wolves are top. And I've filtered by attack difficulty. So Wolves have got the best next 5 between Wolves, Palace, Brentford and City. Wolves also, crucially, playing game week 29. Game week 29 is a blank game week. Loads don't want to use a free hit. You've got cover. What works against Mateta is he doesn't play in 29. He's clearly outstanding. But if you're looking for 29 cover, Mateta doesn't cover you, so that works against him. Wissa does play in 29 and ticks along nicely, also with good fixtures. And Marmoush, tricky entry point because it's Liverpool, but then the fixtures get really good. And after game week 30, they get even better. So there's very little to split them, but you'd have to say Cunha and Wolves have the edge. But when we're talking about the individual players, Marmoush and Wissa aren't talisman for their teams. We don't know yet about Marmoush. Probably not going to be. Cunha and Mateta They really are. When they score, they get 3 bonus points, right? These guys are from 36 bonus points available for Cunha this season in games he's returned. He's had 16 returns, 12 goals, 4 assists. Cunha's had 30 bonus points from 36 on the table. He always mops up the bonus points. He's the talisman of the team, as is Mateta. Now, when we're looking at the season-long data, we can see in green, around the outside, Cunha delivers on pretty much most of the metrics. He's the best. Not just the shots, but the chances created. So goal attempts, yes, but also chances created, big chances created, goals, shots in the box, total assists, penalty area touches. He wins. He wins all out, right? And they've all had very similar minutes, by the way, these 3 players, season long. So Cunha's been the best option. But when we flip this to go last 6 game weeks, and in the last 6 game weeks, Cunha's had 5 starts. I think Wissa and Mateta maybe 6 each, but the minutes are very similar again. It's really varied. And actually, Cunha becomes perhaps the weakest asset in the last 6. Now, in the last 6, we've seen Cunha playing under a different manager. We've also seen Cunha have some really tricky fixtures. And again, when we look at smaller data samples, you have to ask questions. And one of those questions should always be, in that data sample, what's the fixtures been like for those players? Cunha in the last 6 has played Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle. It's been a really tough run of games, so you can't expect his data to be that of a Daniel Munoz, who in the last, or a Mateta, who has played, Everton, United, Brentford, West Ham, Leicester, Chelsea, like a really good run. Regardless, we can only use what's in front of us, and I like to not just consider season long. I want to know, actually, why compare season long when Cunha was playing under a different manager in a different system, for example. So we're going to look at both and see. In the last 6, it's a mixed bag. Cunha is top for chances created, and goal attempts he's still high. We like that. The BPS baseline, Cunha's always top. But then when we look at Wissa and Mateta, well, Wissa, for shots in the box, penalty area touches, he's right up there. He's the best. He is the number 9. He's the goal hanger. Brentford get a lot of touches in those areas, which is great for Wissa. Palace don't get a huge amount of touches in the final third, and because of that, Mateta perhaps suffers on things like some of those metrics. But Mateta has, crucially, the best metric of all, the most goals. He's also created chances. He's got the XGI. Mateta is the standout for the last 6. And then when we look at the fixtures, as we said, there's very little splitting them. It comes down to that 29, which puts you off Mateta. So all in all, we consider these guys and we go, they're all great. It comes down to personal preference. You spend a little bit more money on Mateta. Vissa's affordable. Cunha's a good price point. I think I prefer Cunha. But I also think it depends what I'm doing in Game Week 29. If I'm free hitting in 29, I still could get Cunha for that Southampton fixture, and I could go Mateta before it, which is a huge, huge tempter. Before I tell you where I'm at, let me just show you Marmoush as well. Because we've shown you Marmoush fixtures, but I haven't shown you the data. Again, he's just come into the team. He's had a lot of early subs. But I want to show you the average position map from the Newcastle game. Is this a sign of things to come? If it is, City effectively played a front 2. And that front 2 was Marmoush and Haaland. They were both as advanced as each other. Marmoush was fairly central. He obviously played on the left. But Savinho played on the right. And look at Savinho versus Marmoush. Different positioning. It was almost like Gvardiol on the left, Savinho on the right. Marmoush down the middle, and he got 4 shots on target, 3 goals. Really impressive performance from Marmoush, who is a 7 million forward. We can start to consider Marmoush alongside a Cunha and a Mateta and a Wissa because he's in the same price bracket. Now, Man City's fixtures, yeah, they're not quite as good yet. But if they can go and score 4 against Newcastle, they can score against Liverpool. And that game at the weekend is going to be really interesting. And then after that, it's Tottenham, Forest, Brighton, Leicester. It's a good run. So Marmoush is firmly on my mind. So in summary, I look at these 4 players and I feel like it's too early for me to make a call. Of course, if you jump on early and you're rewarded, you're happy you went early. And I could be rewarded on any of these 4 guys. Maybe 2, 3, or all 4 of them could be rewarded this weekend. But I need another game. I need to see Marmoush in central areas again. I need to see the form of Wolves against easier opposition, although Bournemouth isn't easy. I'm interested on Mateta and my chip strategy in 29, and another week's worth of data can help me with that chip strategy. So all in all, when we go back to my team, I've got this Gakpo position, and I probably want to sell Gakpo because even if he's fit and starts, even if he's fitting in the squad, he could come off the bench and get a 1-pointer. And we do see that with Klopp. He uses attacking subs. If Gakpo isn't in the 11, he'll probably get 10, 15 minutes. And after that, it's Newcastle and he's got a blank in 29. So is it easier just to give myself a week on that Gakpo replacement and actually bench him? Now, what does my 11 look like if I do that? If I bench Gakpo, I could start Mikalenko. And I play a 4-4-2. I go old school. Now, do we like this team with a 4-4-2? It's fine for 1 week, right? Gives me a little bit more breathing space. I think maybe that's where I'm at. And next week, I might go, Marmoush is the best option. Remember, it's a midweek deadline next week. By the way, do hit those buttons, guys. Like and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. If you don't ask for it, you tend not to get it. So I just want to give you that shout out. So if I'm doing that and I'm going Marmoush, I could have a lot more clarity on that after the Liverpool game. Or I could have a lot more clarity on my chip strategy and go, I'm going to free hit in 29. And because I'm going to do that, I'm going to go Mateta. Because it doesn't matter that Banks in 29. So I'm going to give myself till Monday, I think, to make that decision. And therefore, Gakpo probably stays in the squad. Also, it'd be for a hit, because I am making another transfer. And that is around the assistant manager. But before we talk about the assistant manager, shall we talk about captaincy? Yeah, let's talk about captaincy. It's between Salah and Isak. If you've got Burmo, you could punt him. I just feel like this is a week where I could go against Mo Salah. And when we see him in my team, it's like, oh, Salah, he gets points. He gets 2 returns a game. And City just conceded 3 to Mbappe and coming back from Madrid. But City now will concentrate on the Premier League. They're at home. They played well against Newcastle. Liverpool also had a midweek fixture. I do think Salah's a good option this week. I just wonder if I can chase a bit of upside with Isak. And the reason I kind of want to flirt with the Isak idea, and I'm clutching a little bit. Let me just show you the XG plot from between the posts. Fulham versus Forest last weekend. Remember, Isak plays Forest. Isak is at home. Forest travelling away to Fulham last weekend. Look at this XG plot. That is not a 2-1 game. That is not a 2-1 game. That was pure dominance from Fulham. Now, Fulham are a good team. Newcastle are better. Can Newcastle do this to Forest? If Newcastle do this to Forest, and look at all those shots, Isak could be a huge win. Now look at the shot map. 4 shots outside the box, 20 shots inside the box. Quite a couple of big chances in there. If this shot map, with a 2.22 XG total, if we see this shot map from Newcastle and 20 shots inside the area, and I know this is a big if because Fulham and Newcastle are very different teams and Forest just had an off day, whatever, Isak's going to go big. And if Isak goes big, I'm happy to bet against Salah. If Isak blanks, I'm probably going to be punished because I'd expect Salah to get a return. But I feel like I could just chase. So that's where I'm at with captaincy. I'm probably 65% on Isak, 35% on Salah in my head. And I'll confirm it on my deadline stream. It could be a late call, but I think that's where I'm at. Guys, we've got to talk about the assistant manager. Before we do, shout out to all my channel members for watching. Thank you so much, as always, for your support. If you want to join them, we've got a WhatsApp group for the Ultras. We've got the squads here. All channel members will get all their questions answered at any point. Just drop a comment on my video or in the live chat when I'm live. And my lives are pretty much about you guys. If you want to support the channel, click join below. And you can do that. Extra content for all channel members as well. Assistant managers. I've put this last because there are people that aren't on the assistant managership that go, oh, you do talk about the assistant managership. I've not even used it. So I've put it at the end of the video. So see you later to all those that don't want to watch it. And thank you for joining those that do want to skip to the assistant manager thing. I took this from Focal on his Twitter, and I've added a few icons of managers that I think I could back. I'm torn. I could stick with Emery, who I think is fine. It doesn't use a transfer, and transfers are valuable. Every transfer matters. I could take a punt on Glasner, or I could play safe with Herzler. I don't think I'll be playing safe with Herzler. I'd say I'm 20% to go Herzler. You could play. I haven't got the money to get to an Arteta, but I don't like that call anyway. I a few trust issues with Arsenal attack. Herzler, you got to think the ceiling is high. You get points for every goal. Glasner now, because Villa didn't win, Glasner gives us the bonus, and I think that's probably where I go, guys. I see Fulham Palace as a coin toss. And if it's a coin toss, I'm up for rolling the dice. The assistant manager chip is about having fun. For me, especially if you're chasing. I'm at 1 million in the world. I'm chasing. Of course I am. Now, I tweeted actually. I tweeted that you've had a big win, right? If you've gone Moyes, Emery, surely you now go Glasner. And I just want to reference Slot owners 28 points, Moyes Emery 36, but Moyes Emery have used a transfer. Moyes Emery have had a third Liverpool slot that could be Gakpo, that could have been a dead spot. So there is more to it than that. And it's been a really close contest. If you're on slot, I think you roll the dice and have a bit of fun on a Glasner. If you're on Emery, I think you probably still have roll the dice and have a bit of fun with Glasner. You could also chase McKenna. That's an option. If we just go to the stats, this is the bookies' odds. They think the biggest upset would be Leicester. They think the easiest to guess upset. These are the teams that can get bonus. Leicester, Palace, Ipswich, Wolves, Southampton and West Ham. 28% for Leicester, say the bookies. They think Leicester have got the best chance of getting a win. I disagree with this a little bit. I think Palace have got the best chance. That's why I'll be backing, I think, Glasner. But McKenna as well. They're the big three. After that, for Wolves, Southampton, West Ham, you're talking under 20%. Again, this is bookies' odds. I don't always go with that, but often it's a good indicator. So I think where I'm at is it will probably be Glasner. I'd say I'm probably 50% on Glasner, 30% on sticking with Emery and saving the transfer because I don't rate Chelsea and Villa have got a chance. And probably 20% on Hersler. So look, at the moment, when we see my team, I've got 0.4 in the bank and 1 free transfer. Let's use that transfer by selling Emery to Glasner. I've got the exact funds. Sorry, I've not got the exact funds. Glasner's 0.8 as well, isn't he? So it leaves me with 0.4 in the bank still. I think this feels right in a 4-4-2 with Gakpo first sub. Let's see where I land on my deadline stream. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. A bit longer today. Show your support by dropping a like, hitting the subscribe button, comment with any questions, and thanks for your support. I'll see you on the deadline stream. Bye-bye.